Hey, let's talk. The number one question I get about my life abroad is, what's it like being Black? So I figured now was as good a time as any during Black History Month to sit down and have this conversation. Being Black in Dubai, or being Black abroad in general, is not just one experience. My experience as a Black American woman is going to look slightly different from someone who is Jamaican or Nigerian or even from the UK. Black people are not a monolith. And although our experiences sometimes overlap, of course, they're not always the same. So like I said, since I get asked this question all the time, I wanted to share some of my personal experiences, the experiences of my friends who have lived and traveled abroad, and open up the dialogue, because I literally get this question every single time I post something on the internet. And I think it is an important conversation to have. But again, these are my personal experiences. So if you're planning on moving abroad or taking a trip, please also do your research, because my experience may not align with you and someone else's experience may be better suited for you. Living in the United States, which is where I'm from, Kansas City, Missouri, we obviously know that race is very coded in everything in that country. So moving abroad, I kind of had that mindset in my subconscious somewhere going into it. So my first experience really living abroad was when I moved to Kuwait in 2014 to teach. Now, I had been to the Dominican Republic a few months before that with my school, so it was a very curated experience. We were very taken care of, but this was the first time that I was going extremely far by myself and not really knowing what to expect. And the first time I had an interaction with a local Kuwaiti showed me something that I had never experienced before. So we were in the grocery store, literally had gotten there maybe 2 days ago, and we're pushing our carts. There's a big group of us, very diverse from all over the world, and we're just getting our groceries because we just landed and, you got to eat. We're pushing our carts and I see this Kuwaiti lady staring at us. Right? She's not saying anything. She's not being rude, but I see that she's like watching. She's like looking. And so a part of me is like, okay, what's going on here? What's happening? Why is she staring? Does she not like Americans? Does she not like Black people? All of these things are running through my mind. And of course, that some of those negative things that people had said to me about moving to the Middle East before I moved there were now popping up in my head, right? Because my natural disposition is not to be prejudiced toward people. That's not natural for me. So I'm starting to hear all these things pop up, and I'm like, okay, let's just figure out what's going on. So then I end up being the closest to her, and she approaches me and she goes, "Are you guys from America?" And I hesitated because I'm like, why is she asking me that? Like, why does she want to know? So I say, yes, we are. She launches into this speech about how much she loves America. She goes to Minnesota every single year. She's asking us all types of questions. What else are we doing here? We tell her we're teachers, and we're just engaging in this like really awesome, positive conversation. And I think that was the first time that I had been identified as American rather than Black. And the more I sit and reflect and think about that conversation, I'm like, holy cannoli, that's strange. Because especially in America, and a lot of places in the world, because I'm an American, I'm reflecting on that experience. The first thing people see is that you're Black. You don't have to open your mouth. You don't have to say anything, right? Like, it's also very obvious that I am a Black woman. So having that interaction with her and being approached not by my race, but by my nationality was very interesting. And I don't think at the time I really clocked what was happening until I started reflecting about my identity, my place in the world, and what it looks like for me to travel and interact with different people as a Black American woman. So again, I want to remind you that I'm speaking from my experiences, my observations, my conversations with other Black people who are abroad and who have lived abroad. But I'm not speaking for all Black people, and I'm not speaking for living abroad as a whole, because there's plenty of places on this earth that I have not stepped foot in. So let's jump forward to 12 years later. I currently live in Dubai, and I spent 4 years in Kuwait. I also spent 1 year in Qatar, and this is currently my second year here in Dubai. And for me, the experience has been really positive. I've had so many wonderful opportunities, relationships, the ability to travel, things that I honestly could not fathom being my life have become my reality. And I don't take any of that for granted. And I also recognize that I'm coming from a place of privilege that I might not have known when I first moved abroad in 2014. So all of these places have given me so much. And I want this video to also be encouragement for any other Black women who are considering making the move abroad. And I want to share with you what it has done for me. And not necessarily to say that you need to move to the GCC, right? This area. But if you're considering it at all, I highly recommend it, because I don't think I would be the person that I am today if I had not made that jump, or 22-year-old me had not made that jump all those years ago. So the first thing that I really love and have loved about being in this region is the safety, especially as a woman. Top notch, top tier. I can easily move through literally anywhere, and I'm not worried about, being catcalled or, men trying to solicit my number. Now, if I'm out at the club, getting a little drink, that's something different. But if I'm just walking down the street, or if I'm at the grocery store, nobody's bothering me. And even when I am in spaces with men, I feel like I'm not so hyper aware. Like I just feel my nervous system feels very calm and relaxed, right? Like I'm not always on 10. Like, okay, I'm in this small space with this man, let me be on guard. It's very much relaxed. The second thing is the relationships that I have created over this time period. I still am friends with people who I met that first year in Kuwait. And I mean like close friends. And that I think about all is crazy. Like if you ever think about the butterfly effect, like what do you mean if I hadn't moved to Kuwait in 2014, I wouldn't have all of these beautiful relationships that I have today? Like, would we have crossed paths? And if we did, in what way would that have come about? So I have these really true, genuine, long-lasting friendships that I do not take for granted at all. And it's because I was able to put myself in a space, right? Knowing no one. I moved to Kuwait at 22 by myself. I didn't know anybody. And that type of move forces you to get out of your comfort zone, to build relationships, to build community. And I think I've done a really beautiful job of that. And I'm so grateful for those relationships that I have that came to me because I chose to make a decision for myself. And when you're building those relationships abroad, it's different because you're in a space where I feel like you're thinking more clearly. I'm in this new place, new culture, new language, new food, new customs, and I want to have new people in my life. But it makes you have a little bit more discernment. Like I'm already learning all of these new things. I'm already having to adapt. Who do I want to be a part of that journey with me, to help uplift me, to help support me, to help build me, right? You just don't let anybody in when you were in that situation. And I think the opposite side goes as well. There have been people that I have met that I thought that we would really be friends. And it turns out that they weren't as genuine as I thought they were. But it's quicker for me to remove those people because I know who I am. I know what kind of friendships I want, and I know what kind of people I want around me. And I know what kind of community I want to build outside of my community in the United States. And so if someone doesn't fit that, I'm not pressed to keep them around, right? I feel like sometimes when we're in spaces that we've been our entire lives, that we know everybody, it's harder for us to remove those connections because we feel like we can't build new ones. And I'm here to tell you, even if you don't move abroad, maybe cut them people off. You can absolutely build new connections and relationships if you're intentional and genuine and honest about what you want, and have that reciprocated in other people. And of course, the travel, like obviously, duh. I'm the first person in my family to actually move out of the country. and to experience some of the places that I experience. And I think sometimes I take it not for granted, but it becomes such a normal part of my life now that sometimes I have to sit and reflect like, whoa, this was not normal for my mom. This was not normal for my grandma. This was not normal for my great grandma. Like, my ancestors did not have the freedom of choice to decide, you know what, like, for example, for spring break in a few weeks, I'm going to Kenya. I'm free to make that choice, right? My mom couldn't make a choice like that. My grandma couldn't make a choice like that. So it's actually a very beautiful thing as a Black woman to be able to be in a position that I know the women before me were not able to be in. And I think that's something that's so powerful. And I've actually been reflecting on that a lot over the last couple of months. And I will never not be grateful for positions that I put myself in to be able to do certain things. So honestly, for me personally, and the majority of my Black friends, colleagues, the experience for us as Americans or Canadians is very positive in this region. The thing that I find most interesting about living in this region is when I interact with people, and obviously I'm a Black woman, like, I'm not ambiguous. You can very clearly see you looking at a Black woman, okay? But then I open my mouth and you hear, some people think it's a little country, you hear this accent. And I've had interactions with people where they're not sure how to interact with me based on how I look, right? Maybe I'm not all done up. Maybe I'm just looking on a regular way. But then when they hear that accent, oh, baby, the conversation instantly changes. And I'm treated well. And that was also a crazy thing for me to think about and reflect on and have conversations with friends about. Because again, when you are used to people interacting with you based on your race, and now people are interacting with me based on my nationality, and it's a positive reaction, whoa there, everybody stop, pause. So that was a big shock. The second thing, being here and being Black, was my interactions with police. I think, unfortunately, we as Black Americans especially carry a lot of trauma with police and police interactions, police brutality. I mean, I had to scroll past something I saw today about another man getting shot because I cannot constantly take it. I mean, it's overwhelming, right? And interactions that I've had with police as a child. So subconsciously, like, right, it's not in the forefront of my mind all of the time, but then it comes up when you have interactions with police in other places, and all of that sort of like anxiety, that being scared, it comes up. So I've had a few interactions with police here, and again, they've been extremely positive. Because once I turn on this little American accent, the interaction becomes totally different. And that again was a shock for me, because in America, the police are going to see me as Black. That's it. Doesn't matter, full stop. So again, it's like I'm battling in my head these interactions and these moments and these situations where it's like, this is a total flip from what I'm used to. But it also, in a sense, is like, okay, I like that though. I'm calm. I'm not hyper, up, oh my God, I'm Black, I'm in this space, oh my God, the police are here, I'm Black, I'm in this space, I'm just for a second allowed to breathe. And that is something that is so refreshing. And I didn't know that I needed it. And so when people ask me, oh, you're not worried about your family, blah, 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 all these different questions, I'm like, the way I am at peace. So as I'm sifting through all of these conversations, interactions, and layers, I'm like, this is privilege. I am walking now in a space of privilege because of my nationality. And that blew me. And then it's like, oh, this is what privilege is. This is it. So, and I'm very aware of it and the fact that not everybody gets to experience it in the spaces that I am in. And that's the part that is troubling. That's the part that kind of gnaws at you. And when people ask me what my experience is, I'm very, very clear to say that this is my experience as a Black American woman. Not everybody who has a similar identity to me is having the same experience. And I want to be clear about that. So again, when you're making your decisions to move abroad or to travel or to do whatever, you have to take all of the parts of your identity into account. And what is that going to look like for you? Because it's going to look different for everybody. Understanding your identity and how it plays out in your city, in your state, in your country, or globally is so important. I have such a deeper understanding of who I am, how I view myself, how others view me, how my interactions shape my experiences. And I think if you're going to move abroad, first of all, it is hard. You are literally ripping up everything you know about your life and you're taking a chance, and it's not for everybody. I want to be very clear about that it is not for everybody. As much as I wish that it was for everybody, it is not. So when you decide to make that choice as a Black woman, you need to really focus on your identity, all parts of it, and go in. Of course, I always say go in with an open mind, but also be realistic about the environment that you're stepping into. We have so much access now to people's experiences, to their ideas, to the way things are in different places. And like I said, even with listening to my experience, take it with a grain of salt, or pick apart what you want to take from it. I'm just sharing because, like I said, this is a common thing that I get, and I want to be honest and share what that looks like. So the biggest thing is that your identity is going to travel with you. You can't get rid of it. It ain't going nowhere. And it's going to show up differently based on what that identity is and who you're interacting with. And that is the truth. The good and the bad, it is the truth. So if you're a Black woman considering moving abroad, I will say it till I die. Absolutely do it. But do it informed. Do it with your research and do it intentionally. And remember that your experience is going to be unique and it is your experience. That's it. There may be some things that overlap in our identities and our experiences may overlap, but nothing is going to look exactly the same. But I do hope you take that chance and allow yourself the opportunity to experience something new, something exciting, something challenging in this 2026 year of the horse. That's it. That's all I wanted to share. I hope this video was helpful, insightful in some way. I really want my YouTube channel to start focusing on some of these conversations, being abroad, about living abroad, about what that looks like. I kind of touched on it earlier, some of those generational things. Yeah. And so this is the first kind of opening up of that conversation. I've never really done a sit down video like this, but it's like talking to a friend because these are the conversations that I have with my friends also. So we're going to be bringing it to the channel. So if you're interested in that, stay around. I also will continue to share things about weekly life in Dubai and my travels. Like I said, I am traveling to Kenya in a few weeks. So if that's something you're also interested in, I'm going to share everything about the entire process with you guys. And if living abroad, whether it's here in the GCC or anywhere else, is on your dream, on your heart, start making that plan right now. And don't just plan and plan and plan, start taking action. Do one thing a month that gets you closer to that goal. Because the way that man and then people, because exactly. So thank you so much for watching. Please drop a comment below if anything resonated with you. If you have a question or a comment, I would really like to start a conversation going about everything that I shared here. And I will see you guys in the next video.